you no cry again.
93.7 Citizen FM.
We are the future. We are the dream. We are the nation. We are part of this. Yes, we are so amazing. That's the least we shall be. At the heart of the nation, changing history. How can they say that we are finished? We have just begun. When we have nowhere else to run to, we have nowhere else to go. So get out of the way, out of the way.
Good afternoon, good people of Abuja. It is another program, Citizen Speaks, on Citizen FM 93.7 in Abuja City. It's a wet day and it's raining in a beautiful way. Today we're going to be discussing with a mother of many people, and we shall be discussing motherhood, parenthood, and so on and so forth. So I have the honor and privilege to welcome to the studio Alaja Folashade Mohibat Aribidesi, the National Amira of Nawaruddin Society of Nigeria and Overseas, the matron, the Peace Magazine Nigeria. Alaja, you're welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much.
No doubt, in the life of a country, there shall be womanhood. In the life of a country, the machine for our Nigerians to bring in good people, good citizens. In the light of this, we decided to have Alaja Aribidesi to share experiences to us listeners on the best mode of parenthood in Nigeria. No doubt, we're having challenges in that sector and in modern time. In parenthood, where did we go wrong as a people and a citizen of this country?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, the organizers of the program. Good afternoon, fellow citizens of the country. It's a pleasure for me to be here this afternoon, and it's equally a pleasure for me to discuss on the parenting. We continue to pray to Almighty God to continue to guide us. But before I continue, I think the first thing I would like to do is to have a definition of what is parenting itself. And in a simple way, in a simple definition, parenting is the process of raising children and providing them with protection and care in order to ensure their healthy development into adulthood. Into adulthood, we have said. And we are talking about here children from 0 to 18 or even a little bit above that when we look at the country as a whole. I think it's important for parents to realize and be conscious of the fact that Almighty God has placed us in a very responsible place, has placed the responsibility of guiding our children into adulthood. Parents are responsible for physical, physiological, and spiritual growth of our children. And that really places us in a very big task, especially for the mother. We need to realize the fact that parents are the first teachers of their children. So it is important for us to know this responsibility. And you just asked, why did we go wrong? First, I want to mention, there is no job more important than being a parent. I think that's one fact I would like every mother, even father, to know. There's no job you have, there's no position you are in, there's no profession you are in that is more than being a parent. That responsibility is one important responsibility that we must realize that we need to perform that duty and to perform it excellently well. I know I need to. Yeah, somebody will say, "Oh, does it mean we won't work? We will work, because if you don't work, we will not provide for them. But while we are working, we should be conscious of the fact that we're supposed to take care of them. In this modern world, a number of us have placed so much priority. This is one of the reasons where we have gone wrong. A number of us place so much priority on our profession, for the professionals, for the bankers. A number of us have placed so much priority on our business, even for the market women I'm talking about here. If you look at it, especially when I look at Lagos, most times because of the hold up and every other thing in Lagos, many people, maybe by 6, by 5, somebody who's living in the Gowan Estate, Lekki, and all those things, 4 a.m., 4:30, some people have left their house. They've left their children, left the children in the hands of neighbors, left the children in the hands of the housemates. How much do we get back to know what is happening to them? And most of the time, even after leaving them, we still come back home so late, 9 p.m., 11 p.m. in the night. Before you leave, they are still sleeping. It is the housemaid that will care for them when they leave. Before you come back, they are already sleeping. Even when they have challenges in school, even when they have some things to discuss with you, they do not have the opportunity because you are not there for them. So priority, we should less priority on the profession or even the bankers. So much work to do in the bank, so much work to do in the office. Yes, we need to work, but then we should also be conscious of these children. We have brought them into the world, and God has placed that responsibility on us for us to take care of them. Whatever position we occupy in the society, we should be conscious of the fact that we have children. Money making in general is one of the reasons why some people neglect their children. We do not have enough time to properly train them. And it is very important that we create time to train our children. We create time to monitor their development and their movement wherever they are. That is one point I want to say that is important. Again, this may not be generally us, but it's still part of us. The issue of modernization, globalization, exposure to modern works. These are part of the issue we also face as mothers. Yes, this is not just us, and can also be part of, because we also want to be part of globalization. These children are so exposed to beyond where we are, beyond what we are in the country. They are too exposed, and we really need to move with them, to also be part of them, to also know what is happening, for us to know, to be able to take good care of them, for us to be able to make them responsible children. Another challenge, we can't say we go wrong in that, because technology. We have to move with technology. In the modern day, we must. If you are not technological developed, you are nowhere. But then, here we need more monitoring. We cannot say they should, because this technology has also exposed them. But parents have a lot of duty to play here. Because now some parents they have laptop, they have all sorts of gadgets, and would not place any control on them. So these are all that, because this one exposes them. And if you look at it, they know far more than what we know. So we cannot afford not to be alive to our responsibility. A parent of nowadays, modern day parents, needs to know that he needs to work harder. He needs to work harder to be able to properly parent the children well.
Madam, you just mentioned something of importance, that is the role of the social media. How do parents control their children from having enough access to the social media networks?
Yeah, there are a lot of applications too that you can use to control. You can control the time they use on the social media. It's not the best. The child is on TV for 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. That should be controlled. Then in terms of the gadgets, we should reduce the number of gadgets we give to them. And where you have the gadget, there are a lot of applications now that you can install that control how many hours it does. If you want him to be limited to 30 minutes, it can be limited. The charge can be limited. But as long as he has spent 30 minutes in that particular, spent 30 minutes on that gadget, the system it will switch the charge off. There are some controls that you can also place to limit the child to which application you can access. There are YouTube for children. There are YouTube for adults. You can place a control such that you only make the child to have access to the YouTube for children. It depends on the age, and even within this control, there are age limits. When you even enter YouTube for the children, there are some things that cannot be exposed to for a 10-year-old, 8-year-old. You give the age range of who can be exposed to that particular application. So you can limit all this control. You can set it on their phone, so that will help a lot to reduce the time and to reduce where they have access to.
Building a house is like building a nation. A house that is not well kept causes problems in the society. Madam, how do you have peace in our homes, considering the modern day developments?
Thank you very much. It's important. A mother, we just talk about the motherhood, about the parenthood, about taking care of your children. It's important. A mother in the house plays so much responsibility. Is highly responsible to. He takes so much care of her own responsibility. You must have respect for your husband. You must be able to do your own responsibility as it is expected. Then again, we need to bring up our children in such a way that we also have peace, as you rightly pointed out. We teach them to believe in God and to be God-fearing. And this is not just teaching, you need to lead by example. We need to make so much effort to raise a God-fearing children. Because if you raise a God-fearing children, we have peace in our house. When we have peace in our house, it is the same children that goes out into the society. When they have God-fearing, when they go to the society, wherever they are in the community, they be God-fearing. And that goes on like that to the larger society, the country as a whole. So we must train our children to be God-fearing. We must train them to be able to know about our holy book. Whether you are a Christian or you are a Muslim, teach your children to know so much about Quran, because there are a lot of them that gives them guidance. Teach your children to know about Bible. All these holy books give them guidance. And when they know it, when they read it, which is also reading by you anyway, because it's important. In the morning, you pray with your children. When they get used to it, and you also read your holy book with them, when they get used to that, that gives them a lot of guidance. And when they want to do anything, they remember some of the things they have read in the holy book. So that is also very important. That too will give us peace in our house. Show your children kindness. Very important. You show them kindness and teach them kindness. Because when you teach them kindness, they also go out there to be kind to others. When they are kind to others, when they have others' feelings, they won't kill those people. They won't kill other people that is not there. They won't kill other tribes. They won't kill other religious sects. Because when they are kind, they have a lot of things that the integrity will be there for them. So they will not go out to kill others and all those things. So these are all the things that we help us a lot to have peace in our house. And we too should make sure that we try as much as possible to carry out our responsibility in the house to our husband and to the children as a whole.
You are listening to Citizen Speaks on 93.7 Abuja. We are speaking with Alhaja Alibidesi, the national chairperson, Narodu Society of Nigeria overseas, matron of the Peace magazine, and a retiree in one of the banks in Nigeria. Madam, don't you think you mothers, you overpampered your children and thus cause problems for the society?
Okay, I won't say it's not in all cases. Of course, mothers, because of the feelings you have for the children, we take the way we handle them. But it's also, there's also a lesson for the mothers. We should avoid. We should train them. We should make them to be responsible and not to. Of course, we need to do the right thing. You can't make them to suffer. But then it's important you don't pamper them. It's important you don't over pamper them. It's important you make them to realize what they need to do without pampering. Ensure that they do what they're supposed to do without pampering them. So I think it's very important that this area in any case that some parents over pamper the child, I think is something that we should look at. And we should ensure children are not pampered. Of course, you need to, that's from the definition. You have to care and protect them. Of course, you have to clothe them and fill them. You should. You need to clothe them. You need to fill them. But it's not to do this to the detriment of the children. It's important you are conscious. It's important you are cautious too. So even when you feel them, you don't things that you think you cannot afford. Don't try to force yourself to do it. And do it, whatever, when you're clothing them, when you're feeding them, do it with all discipline. All this will reduce the pampering.
Of a concern to many Nigerians is the use of social media networks, applications like telephone. Why, for instance, you as a mother, will you buy a phone of 200, 300,000 for a child of 12 years old? How do you react?
No. And I will still loud no. I think this is something. Maybe that's the area you're also talking about. Even me, I will not use the phone of 200,000. What am I using it for? You understand? I think this is another area the parents need to look at. Even if you have the money, you have worked hard to get that money. Let these children also work hard to get to that level. By the time you buy them a 200,000 phone, for what? 12-year-old? I felt this is really uncalled for. What is he doing with it? And these are part of the areas that, because by the time you buy 200,000, of course, these are the phone you can use for so many things on the social media. So this is really not the best. And to me, that's just too expensive to have a phone of 200,000 for a child. That is spoiling. That is spoiling the child. Train the child to have a good education. Train the child to be responsible. When he gets to the level when he's working on his own, when he's earning the money, he will know the value of money. I'll be able to know that you should be able to buy a phone of 20. When you buy a phone of 200,000, he can't know the value of money. If I went down and spoil, we'll be asking you for the next one of 500,000. So I felt my answer there is pure, typical no, and I will not do that.
We may also want to ask questions on the mode of dressings of our children these days. How do you feel as a mother exposing your own child to kind of indecent mode of dressing that we see in town?
I think it's also an area that the mother still needs to be alive to their responsibility. And also start from us anyway. Because if you as a mother also dress indecently, then it's difficult for you to tell your child not to dress indecently. And when your child is not dressing well, it's important for you to control the child. It's important for you to let the child know why he should dress properly. Because indecent dressing too, when the child goes out, of course, it is indecent people that he or she will come across. So exposing should be something that it should be totally reduced or eradicated. Exposing your body is something that somebody should be able to, the parents should ensure when your child is going out of the house, the child, especially female child, is properly dressed. Even for the male, that wear the jeans and the thing is dropping at the back. I think these are other areas that the parents really need to be alive to their responsibility. Because when you are in the house, and as a parent too, it's important you also dress well. Because if you don't dress well, where you also wear something that exposes your body, then it's difficult for you to tell your child not to wear it.
You are listening to Citizen Speaks on Citizens Radio 93.7 in Abuja City. Very soon we shall open the phone for you to talk to Alaja Aribidesi, who is a national chairperson of Naradu Society of Nigeria and Overseas, a retiree, and a computer expert. Ma, we shall be taking a break in a short while, and when we come back, we talk about your profession.
Citizen FM, we believe in progressive talk and solution-driven conversation. Our aim is to build a united Nigeria by bringing people of diverse culture together through communication. Enjoy listening to 93.7 Citizen FM. We are more than just a radio station. We are a part of your life.
Welcome back to the studios of Citizen FM 93.7 in Abuja City. It's a wet day. We call on drivers to be extra careful on the roads. And when you are crossing the roads, be vigilant and be in peace towards yourself, the nation, and the country. Alaja Aribidesi, you're welcome back to the studio.
Thank you very much.
Ma, the drug menace in the country is becoming a concern to the society. What's your take, and how much effort is the society doing to ensure we have a drug-free youth and children?
Thank you. Once again, it goes to where we started from, the parents and the parenthood. And attention for our children. Need to dedicate time for our children. As you rightly said, the issue about drug is a big issue in the country as a whole. It's a concern. And as you asked, my society, especially my women wing, we are also joining advocacy for such. On the menace of the drug abuse. Recall we just had a conference in January, and to be honest, that was our focal point for the conference. And part of the thing we also did, at least we had, the title of our conference is curbing the menace of abuse in our society, especially the drug abuse. And what we tried to do during that conference was to actually invited some students of secondary school, which we had about 200 students from various schools in Ogun State. We had the conference in Ogun State, Abuja. We also invited the NDLA to come and give a lecture on that. And it was a well trash exercise. And I know at the end of the day, most of the students are also happy. because we also had a debate actually, so that the students also debate on it itself, so that they know how bad it is. So it's one of the way we have tried to join the advocacy for stopping the drug abuse in the society. We are so much concerned as mothers. I still go back to some of the things I've said before. Mothers, or parents as a whole, because it's both mothers and fathers that make the house. It's just that the mothers play so much role. The mother play a bigger role in the house than the father. Father goes out to look for food. Of course, a lot of mothers also go out now. So, attention for our children is key. Because when we pay attention to them, we know when they are going wrong. We will know when they, of course, in the school too, they have peer groups. Peer groups also form a lot of problem for this. But then when we monitor, when we pay attention, we'll be able to know when they are going wrong. We'll be able to know when they are taking a wrong step. And even when we're at home, we should pay attention to our children. Some are such that the children is in another room. Of course, every family will have their children in another room. But then when the children is just there inside the room for several hours, not talking to anybody, you need to check what is happening to this child. What is he doing? Some of them are saying that they're actually sniffing drug. Some are just on the computer accessing all sorts of sites that is not what's being accessed. So these are things we should. So when we have our attention should be more to our children, irrespective of what type of job we are doing, irrespective of how busy we are. We need to create the time. We need to connect with them at any point in time. From when you travel, of course, by the nature of our job, sometimes can take us to travel. Even where you travel, even when you go to anywhere, you need to connect with your child. You need to know what is happening to the children. So those are things I want to talk about, because the issue about attention, monitoring, checking, very important, and paying attention to our children to know what is happening to them at any point in time.
There is a concern generally in the society now that the school system, especially from the kindergarten to the early section in the secondary school, they're overdriving our children with overburdened homework and assessments, that is our assignments, that is beyond their brain that they can capture, and therefore this also leads to a lot of problems for the society. As a mother, have you ever had such experiences while you are bringing up your children?
Yes, we did. And I remember in that school, that was when my children was in a particular primary school. And what we also could not, we have a listening preparatress. We sometimes, for the parents, we met as a parents, and to be honest, we called the attention of the school. And we actually made them realize the fact that this is too much for the children. And at any point in time, we do that anyway. We do that. And good, as I said, at least for the school, my children went down in that primary school. She has a listening here. And she, at that point, they try to reduce the homework. In fact, they have what they call homework free day. One of the day of the week that the children will buy is like this, a relief for them. The children will not have homework. And where they have homework, it was reduced.
Your practical experiences on that will be very useful to people listening to you outside there. Give us a practical example of those overburdened homework.
We have cases whereby, of course, where there is no connection among the teachers, you will see different teachers, even different homework. At the end of the day, the child, the puppy, will go home with almost about 4 or 5 different homeworks. The teacher, this child that's doing basic science, we give it his own or her own. The teacher doing English, the teacher doing math. You understand? So that makes the homework to become so much and more for the child. So where there's no connection, but where there's a connection, where they are also talking to themselves, of course, there can be a reduced rate. Maybe when the math teacher gives homework, of course, math is something very important. Maybe the teacher fit and math homework is something key, because it is when the children do practically the math all the time, every time, that bring the points home. So at least in the week, math assignments can be like 4 or 5 times, you understand? But then for other subjects, that can be reduced. So in terms of the practical exposure, it's like now they talk to themselves such that when there are 2 or 3 homework, the other teacher will not give. So they reduce that.
You are listening to Citizen FM on Citizen Speaks on 93.7 in Abuja City. We are speaking with Elijah Ribidesi, National Chairperson, now the Society of Nigeria. Ma, how much of homework do you do with your kids at home?
I really, of course, as parent, when I was working, of course, it's to say I'm retired. When I was working, it's not so easy. I have lesson teacher. But then, I still make effort, especially for the maths. Because I remember my boy once told me, Mommy, when you explain to me, I understand better. The day he told me that, I know that I have more responsibility on my head. So I need to, as much as possible, I need to create time to do that with him. So even where we have lesson teacher, we should, because if it's not every lesson teacher, you hire them anyway. So it doesn't mean that they will do it to the level you wanted. So it's still good, you still supervise the lesson teacher too. When I say supervise, look at what the teacher is actually teaching them. Try to check the understanding of your children with the teacher. So you must be involved as parents. This is where I'm actually going now. Where I'm so busy, I have lesson teacher. No matter how busy I am, when you come back, still try to create and to see what the lesson teacher has done with your children. And where you also have the time, you as a parent, as I said before, the parents, we are the first teacher. So you as a parent should still try to also sit your children down, do some teachings with them, especially in any of the subjects you think you are really good at. So that is key, and that is very important.
Soon we're opening the lines for you to interact with Elijah Ribidesi. You may have to call us on 081 822 222206, 090 3222 9797, 081 8222 22205. You might have to join us very shortly. Elijah.
Yes.
The issue of domestic violence in the homes. How do you tackle such among the siblings, among your children, and in general? Then how fearful are the housemates in our homes?
For the amongst siblings, I think as much as possible, when we are bringing up our children, we should ensure love exists between them. Love, very key. You have to love your children yourself. You have to create an environment of love. This is something, not just talking about it. You also have to lead by example. You must show love to your children anyway. And I talk about taking time out with them. You need to dedicate time to taking them out, and everything is key. You must show love to them, and you must also train them to love each other. When they love, you also train them to love people around them. So that's the. Then when you have domestic servant in the house, please, again, is very important. We also show love to the domestic servant. Irrespective of the one thing we need to know, God has created her or him just as He created you. If you are hiring that person as a domestic servant, it's just an opportunity you have. So then we should also look at the person as if it's your own child. What will happen if you are the one God has placed in that position? What will you do? So sometimes we need to also think and look at the other side. Suppose I'm the one in this position. And that is why we must also show love to our domestic. Because when you show love to our domestic servant, it is easy for that domestic servant to also show love to our children. It's easy for that domestic servant to care for our children. But where all we do is to place iron on them, beat that child to come and all those things. when you go out, you see the same domestic servant you are living with your children, that is taking care of your children. Some guy even poison the children. I was listening to a program on TVC sometimes last week, and we were discussing about a woman who said a domestic servant placed something of menstruation inside bottle for and give the child. Of course, that was highly discussed during that program. How did we get there? What's even happening in your home house? What's your position to that domestic servant? How are you handling that domestic servant? That domestic servant to be so bad to do such thing? So it is important we also, irrespective whether it's a domestic servant or not, let's show love to them. We know some can be bad, irrespective of whatever you do for them, but you do your own for God. So it's important you express love to the domestic servant. Try to make him to be as if it's your own child. When you show love, when you are kind to him or her, he will also behave well. She will also behave well to your own children, and she will also handle them too with all care.
You are listening to Citizen Speaks on Citizen FM 93.7 Abuja City. You might join us on 0818 2222 09032229797. You may have any question for her, or you may want to interact with her. Sir, Madam, Ramadan is at corner. What's your advice for the Muslim women out there?
My advice is that, of course, during Ramadan, women do more. Women do so much. But then God has not accepted you anyway, not to still do your fasting. In fact, you have more reward for doing more. So my advice is that we should all prepare. We have less than 2 days to the Ramadan. We should all prepare. We should ensure we still take our responsibility the way we're supposed to do it. And it's not enough for you fasting and daddy is fasting. We should also, at least where the children has reached the age of fasting, we should also ensure our children fast with us. We need to bring our children up in a very religious way. We need to ensure they follow us to do what Almighty God has commanded us to do. So my advice to the mothers there is like, we let's do the best we can. Let's prepare for the Ramadan. Let's prepare to hand the reward of the month. Because even as a woman, you have extra reward, because God knows that you do more at that time. You wake up to cook. You go to fast. You cook for the sahur. You cook for the iftar. So you have great reward. So we should ensure we are prepared for it, and we should ensure we are alive to our responsibility to do that we need to do, and ensure too that we do it with our children too. I could recall there's some program I saw sometimes, something on kids. I can't remember where it is now. So there's some kids programs too that you can the children can be online listening to various Islamic programs. So I will also advise our parents. I will advise our parents to look at that. I'm trying to check if I can still see the program. There's a particular program being circulated that is for ages 5 to 12. It's an online program. So it's a good program for the children. So I think it's also good that we make our children to attend that such program online. That gives them more updates about the religion.
0818-2222-206 09032229797. You might want to join us and be part of this program. We are winding up very soon. But may I know, how do we maintain peace in our homes?
I think we've discussed that earlier, but that does not mean I can stay. We should first maintain peace with our husband, with our man in the house. We should behave. We should do good to our man. We should respect our man. Very important, because the man's respect. Even when God has placed him as your husband, you are expected to give him all the respect that is required. So that gives peace. You are not in there as mothers to compete with your man. Again, part of maintaining peace is to also train your children well. You train them you train them to be responsible children. Let the words of God rule in your house.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You are on to Citizen Speaks on Citizen FM. May we know you, sir?
This is Mr. Ben calling from Abuja.
Thank you, Mr. Ben. Thank you.
Good afternoon to the address.
Thank you.
I've had her teaching on how to train our children from age 5 to 12 to listen to religious programs and normal teachings from religious bodies. And I ask her, the ones that are rigging election for us these days, the police officers, INEC officials, the politicians, was the teaching given to them, was it not enough? But look at what we are getting. These people that are in office today were getting one religious teaching agenda when they were young. But today, what we are getting, is it not better we look, teach them on the road. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't want to agree with you that maybe when you teach them religion, they still go out for this. What you see, when you teach them your religion, when you teach them with the word of God, they grow to fear God. They grow to understand how to relate. They grow. You see, there are so many things in the Holy Book, but either both Bible and the Quran. And you also teach us not to lie and so many other things like that. So when you teach them when you teach them to be God-fearing, of course, if they are God-fearing, they will not go out to go and rig election. If you are God-fearing, and if you also know what punishment are ahead of you for lying, you will not go out there to rig election or to do something bad. So and if you're also not greedy. So there are so many things in the Holy Book. You also teach us not to be greedy. Most of these people that are maybe rigging election, doing this and that, is part of greediness. It's because somebody just want to be there at all costs by all means. So I don't want to believe that even when you teaches them religion at 5 or to 12 years or whatever, they can still go out there to rig election, or they can still go out there to do some bad things. No, you see, when you start to teach them the right thing from the when they were young, they grow to be righteous. They grow to be God-fearing. They grow to be responsible and reliable. They grow not to be greedy.
Thank you, man. We are reminding time. Was Messi join us 081-822-22206 090-3222-9797. Thank you. Madam, we are thanking you for coming to the studios to share your experiences with Abuja citizens on Citizen FM 93.7. We pray that Allah and God will give us enough strength and peace in this country. What will be your closing remarks as we wind up this program?
Thank you. My remarks still to the parents.
There's a phone call coming in.
Okay.
Hello.
Salam.
How are you, my brother? How are you doing?
Yeah?
How are you doing? Good afternoon.
I'm fine.
So fine. And what do you have for our Ajia RBDC? Thank you. Your closing remarks, madam. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. As I'm closing, it's still to remind our parents, the mothers, the fathers, God has placed this responsibility on us, and we are expected to deliver it with all sincerity. So we should do the best we can to ensure that we train our children. And as I said before, no job is more than parenting. No job is more important than being a parent. In respect of your profession, in respect of the work you are doing, these children are still your future. You still come back to meet these children. So if you don't take our time to train them well, if you don't take our time to build them up properly and build our house up properly, it becomes still a problem at the end of our life. So it is important we are alive to our responsibility. And there's one thing I also want to mention, which I know because we can't run out of what we have in the society. I know the issue of single parenting. Either you're a single parent by either a death of a partner, by divorce, or by neglect of a partner. It's a challenge. But even then, as a single, I've seen a number of single parents. I've turned out good children, doctors, engineers, computer scientists. So please, I'm leaving a word also to the single parent this afternoon to say, please, even when you're a single parent, it's not an excuse to have your children to be well trained.
Thank you very much. Until some other time, I remain Abdul Fattah Abdul Salam. We thank you, my producer, Fred, and everybody in the house. Until we do it again next week, Tuesday, God willing. Thank you.